All right, today what we're going to do is look at how do we divide fractions. Fractions are really another way to write division problems. This fraction bar is really saying divide. Okay? So if I write it this way, or this way with the house, I am saying divide in each and every one of those problems. So no matter how you see it, it is asking you to divide, if it's asking you to do that. So we're going to go ahead and solve it using the house method, because that is the easiest way and the way that we have been practicing in class. So it's 3 divided by 8. So my 3 goes inside my house. The 8 is outside my house. Now, I have a couple of things for you to note over here. First of all, you must put a decimal point in order to solve problems that do not allow for regular division, which will make sense in a moment. Because can I put 8 into 3? If I look here at my multiplication facts for the table of 8, even 8 times 1 is much larger than 3. So I cannot put 1 here and do 1 times 8 and then subtract 8. I will have a negative answer. I can't do it. So I have to put a 0. But then how do I continue dividing to find my answer? What I have to do is I must put a decimal point. The decimal point goes after the last digit in the value that you are given. You then pull that decimal point up to your answer line. You do that immediately, because if you don't do it right then, you're going to forget. Trust me. Now, the next thing you need to know and to remember is you can put as many zeros as you need after the decimal point in order to divide and solve. Because the value, this 3, the value of the 3, does not change. If I put 5 zeros after that, the value is still 3. Those zeros after the decimal point does not change the value of that 3. Okay? So, now I can do my division. I'm going to go ahead and add 3 zeros, because with our math, we're going to go out no more than 3 place values with decimals. So I already have decided and know that 8 does not go into 3. So I'm going to already put a 0 there. I'm going to say 0 times 8 is 0. And I'm going to go ahead and have 3 minus 0 gives me 3. So if I look at my steps, does McDonald's sell burgers? Divide, multiply, subtract. Next step, bring down. So I'm going to bring down one of those zeros that I added. Now 8 into 30, that I can do. What is the closest without going over? 24 is the closest without going over. So my factor is going to be 3. So 3 times 8 is 24. And now I'm going to subtract. I cannot subtract 0 from 4, so I need to borrow. I cross out the 3, it becomes a 2, and that 0 is now going to become 10. 10 minus 4 gives me 6. 2 minus 2 is 0. I now need to go ahead and bring down that next 0. 8 into 60 is how many times, or the closest to it. I go back to my multiplication table. 56 and 64 are my closest answers. 64 we know is too big, but 56 will work. So my factor is 7. So 7 is going to go on my answer line. And 7 times 8 is 56. So I'm going to subtract 56. And again, I cannot take 0 from 6. I need to borrow. So my 6 becomes a 5, and that 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 6 becomes 4. 5 minus 5 is 0. My last 0 that I have to bring down. Now you'll notice my arrows go down to each line where I'm bringing it. This helps me to make sure I'm tracking where I'm putting those zeros. When you are doing your work, it is helpful if you do the same. Now, how many times does 8 go into 40, or the closest to it? Again, I go back to my multiplication table, and I see that 8 times 5 is exactly 40. So, I'm going to put my factor of 5, and 5 times 8 is 40, so I subtract 40, and I get 0 as an answer. So my complete answer as a decimal would be 0.375. So 3/8 is the same as or equal to 0.375.